Hello everyone. Today I will talk about the offset fetch filter and how to use it in SQL Server. So here I have a table sales orders and I'm selecting 4 columns from it, and I'm arranging the table using the order date and order ID columns in ascending order. So if I have 2 rows with the same order date, it will use order ID to sort the table. Now how can we use the offset fetch filter? Let me paste this part here and add in the filter here. So this is comprised of 2 parts. First is the offset part and the second is the fetch part. So let's understand what it's going to do. So when we say offset 5 rows, it's going to skip the first 5 rows. So from this table here, the first 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to skip it. And the result is going to start from the 6th row here. In the next part, which is fetching, we are telling how many rows we want to fetch from there. So starting from the 6th row, we want 2 rows, which means 6th one and 7th one. So let's see how this works. So it gives us 2 rows, and that is how it works. Now there are some nitty-gritties to cover here using the offset fetch filter. The first one is that order by clause is actually mandatory to use whenever we are going to use the offset fetch filter. So let's take a look at that. If we remove the order by clause and try to run it, it's going to give us an error saying incorrect syntax near 5 here, right? So we have to have the order by clause for sure whenever we try to use the offset fetch filter. Next is that we can use or change this keyword here from next to first. And it essentially does the same thing. Let's run both the queries together to see. So we are offsetting 5 rows and selecting 2. So it was 1, 0, 2, 5, 3 and 5, 4, 5, 3 and 5, 4, and using the next keyword gives us the same thing, 5, 3 and 5, 4. So you can do that. You can use the first keyword instead of the next keyword. And the second one is that you can use the keyword row instead of rows. And again, it does the same thing. So 53 and 54, let's run this query here. Oops, accidentally I pressed the new query button, so I'm going to get rid of it. Okay. So execute. So 53 and 54. So it is exactly the same thing. Now the next thing to note is that we can use the offset feature just by itself. So we can get rid of the fetch here. So we'll just be offsetting by 5 rows. And I'm running both the queries to see that. So we can make sure that it is offsetting 5 rows. So from here, it's going to offset 5. So start at the 6th row here, which is 10253, and this one starts at 10253. So the offset feature can work by itself, but the fetch feature cannot. So if we take that off and try to run this, it's going to give us an error, because at this point, what you're trying to do is just grab the 2 rows from the top of the table, which is exactly the same thing as using the top filter, which is already there in SQL Server. So that's why I guess they chose not to give us that option. So I'm just going to put back the rows here. So I think it's important to not get confused by, the different keywords. I would just stick to this one here. That's why I start with it. And I just keep changing the numbers here and here, and I get by. Otherwise, if you want to use it in a different way, then you are free to, but I think it just gets confusing that way. So the advantage of this filter over the top filter is that this is more of a standard. So you will see some version of this in different SQL dialects. And the second one is that it has the skipping capability. So you can skip certain number of rows from the top and fetch X rows after it. Or if you don't want to fetch, you can just, skip the rows. And this is widely used in paging. So paging is a technique used to manage and display large sets of data in smaller, more manageable chunks called pages. So paging is implemented to efficiently handle and present subsets of data. So that is how you use the offset fetch filter. Thank you.